It is about to go down. Live with you in just a few moments, fellas. Yo, 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 what is going on? It's your boy Leo. We're doing something a little bit different here. Today we're going to be live streaming the Starship Flight 8 test from SpaceX. Y'all know I'm a huge rocket nerd as well as aviation. And so we're going to listen in on a few different streams here, try to learn a little bit. I'll try to explain a little bit of what I know, but I am by no means a rocket scientist. But good to see each and every one of you as we get geared up here. So the launch window opens here in just about 20 minutes. Starship and Super Heavy is currently being fueled with liquid methane and liquid oxygen. And let me get some sound up. So this stream is by NASA Spaceflight, another YouTube content community that does nothing but cover these launches. Everything from Cape Canaveral to Vandenberg out in California to Boca Chica down in Texas, where Starship is launching from. And they have a wealth of information as far as what everything is doing and just the knowledge of rocket science that we can listen in on, as well as they've been, cleared by SpaceX to have their own, cameras out there. These are all their live feeds, their own cameras, their own, pretty much everything. These guys are very knowledgeable and provide a wealth of information. We'll also be queuing into SpaceX's personal, well, not personal, but SpaceX's live stream, because they also have onboard views and everything of Starship. So as far as what I know, from the flight profile, they will be doing the suborbital test. They'll depart here in Boca Chica, and they'll be aiming to test both the booster and the ship. They have 4 dummy payloads of Starlink V2 satellites on board Starship this evening. They will be testing, hopefully, the deployment of those on the new version 2 of the Starship. And again, it's a suborbital flight, so this thing will not be going fully orbital. However, it'll be near orbital velocity. So if this flight goes well, we should see a spectacular show, absolutely spectacular show. We'll get to watch this vehicle go through a full re-entry profile, just like we've done 2 or 3 times before. Flight 7 was not so much of a good test. We had a booster catch, yes, but the ship didn't survive. The first version 2 of the ship, self-terminated. It didn't even make it to the re-entry phase. Flight 6 went awesome. I'm sure you guys may have seen some of those views over the internet a few months ago, and it was absolutely spectacular. This thing sustained massive damage on the flaps and the flap hinges and still made it through orbital re-entry and splash down in the Indian Ocean. So they'll be taking off and going almost all the way around the Earth but not going fully orbital because they need to make sure that they can deorbit the vehicle when they decide to go orbital. So they'll be testing once they're up there, like I said, the payload deployment. They'll be testing a relight of the Raptor engine, which would simulate a deorbit burn when they're ready to come back. Once they do that and successfully complete that, we should see Starship go fully orbital, maybe flight 10, flight 9, and then we should see, once they're fully orbital, we should see SpaceX attempt a catch on the actual Starship. The booster has been caught 2 times, and when I say it's spectacular to see the largest flying freaking object in the freaking world get caught by 2 little chopsticks, like it's absolutely insane. So I'm going to get some sound up here and let's listen into what these guys are talking about. Starship and Super Heavy are well underway. This is all boil off. This is all liquid methane and liquid oxygen boiling off. And this is what you're seeing, all of the condensation and stuff. And as you can see, the frost appearing on the booster indicates about where the fueling process is. And so, yeah. So we're going to have an awesome view, guys, and we're going to check it out together. So let's turn them up a little bit, and let's see what's cracking.
Hot staging. The ship will ignite its engines and separate from the booster. The booster
Zato
will
is
turn
in the
around,
house. What's up,
do its
Zato?
boost back burn back to the launch side. Remember, if something goes off for whatever reason, it'll default to a splashdown on the Gulf. We're going to have that hot staging ring separation, and then hopefully a catch on the launch tower arms about 7 minutes after liftoff. In the meantime, the ship will continue into its own trajectory to the Indian Ocean. It will shut down its engines at T+8 minutes and 44 seconds. Then we'll have that Starlink deployment around 17 minutes after flight, 37 minutes after flight, that single Raptor in-space relight, and then the Starship re-entry should start at the 47-minute mark for a ship landing in the Indian Ocean at T+1 hour, 6 minutes, and I believe we're gonna get to that in just a second there, and 20 seconds. There you go.
All right, sorry about that, guys.
Tried to time my explanations there, but that's the flight profile for today. That's essentially what we're gonna see. Well, we're going to see starting up in essentially 16.5 minutes from now.
So, yeah, this ought to be...
Usually around 15 minutes is when I have to run up to the roof. So
this ought to be...
DOS, do we have you guys up there?
Pretty dope, guys.
Maybe you're dancing.
So I think it's good to mention...
I'm not sure if
I don't think we have them yet.
6:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Central, the window opens. They have a 1-hour window. Usually SpaceX is pretty good about launching at the top of the window. So they're fueling now. They only have a certain amount of time that they can hold.
Wow. That is super generous.
So, you know, with them fueling now, that all indications are showing that they intend on going at the top of the window, meaning at 6:30. That's how it's been for 7 other flights. So we expect to see them launch in about 15 minutes.
Fell over, then sank in the swamp. But the 8th one.
Smooth Ops, welcome aboard. Says you may not be a rocket scientist, but you sure sound like one of me. Hey, I've learned, bro. I've learned from watching these guys, and I've learned just from a game called Kerbal Space Program, which will teach you about freaking orbital mechanics. And everything like rocketry. It's cool, man. Like, this is part of aviation, and you'd be surprised at how much both the FAA and, you know, like, you'd be surprised at how much involved the FAA is with rocket launches. And of course they have to be, right? They shut down airspaces.
Good deal. We're going to free up Gene. Give me an audio check. You let me know if you can hear us and see us. We are up on the roof of the Margaritaville Hotel, South Padre Island now.
And
EJ's
I'm
made it
also
up
checking
here.
to see
Gage is
if
over here on the
SpaceX's
side.
stream
Ryan's
is
behind
live,
the
and
camera
they
over
are
here.
live.
Give us a sky report.
So let me,
as we have seen before. We've got some buoy cams that stationed
he says
out
it's
there
clear
to give
now,
us
as you
great
can see
daylight
behind us.
views
But we are
splashdown in the
ready
Indian
for
Ocean.
this countdown here,
it's a
just
lot,
under
but
T-minus
again, we're really
15 minutes.
focused on
Somebody tell
finding
me
what are the
in my
real-world
ears here in
limits of
Unity if
Starship.
my
We're
audio
doing
Hold
is
on,
not
guys.
great.
Let me
very
see
remote
if I
area
can move some stuff
find
around
those
here
limits before we
because
get ready to return
SpaceX
ship to the launch
Stream
site
is on
and eventually
X.
catch it. A lot of the
Wait,
upgrades
wait.
we made
You know
to
what's
get
cool
to this
about this
And
camera?
ship are
Hang
gonna
on,
so
be
we're gonna
look,
have
it's like-
to
Man, that's going to be exciting because you should catch it.
Alt tab
I have
out,
a joystick to
move
control this
OBS
camera.
up here,
Of course I have a joystick to control this camera.
Starship,
I screwed it
and
up.
we've carried them
and
through
move
Oh,
you
there's
test
Gage
on
over
Flight
there.
8 today.
How's it
up
going?
here as
The
well.
forward
It is a
flaps
little
got
windy
a
up here,
redesign.
yeah.
They have
But,
shrunk and shifted
continuing
away
to
from
count
the
down.
ship's
Should we
see the
belly
rocket back
or
there?
the heat shield. You
Yeah,
can see
look
that
over
on
my
your screen
shoulder.
there.
You could definitely
This
see the
will-
rocket in
this
the
new position will
background.
reduce their
We
exposure to heat
got the
and
We'll
robotic
during
change
tracking
you.
mount ready to
We've
go.
also
Y'all can
extended
hear us
the
and
length
see
of
us.
Starship, and we've done this by
T-minus
2
13
meters.
minutes and
To
50
here.
seconds
Additional
now, and
height
let's
gives us
see
about
what's going to
25%
happen.
more propellant volume,
Is
which
Adrian
will
and,
aid in future
Alex still supposed to be
longer
talking, or
duration
did we just take
missions.
over the show?
We also implemented
We
So
are
let's
also
see,
here.
let me just
upgrades
resize
I'm
this.
also- I'm able to talk with you.
For the Raptor
Okay,
vacuum
we can talk
engines,
with you.
as
How's it
well
going,
as
Adrian?
vacuum jacketing of feed lines
Going
and
good.
an
Apparently there's a
improved
rocket
propulsion
launching in
avionics
about
module.
30 minutes and 30
And
seconds.
you've heard
Lars.
us talk a
It looks
lot
like
of
it.
the experiments we're running
Hopefully.
today are focused
Okay, so
on
the
the
small
anti-gravity
window is gonna
rotor
be
delivery. I mean,
SpaceX's
hopefully
need
the
you
tiles
to
all
help
over
us out with
Starship
official
status. So
and
Alex
that's
is the
been
expert on that.
stream
If
with
there
their
is some
commentators and
status
stuff.
updates
This
that come
time,
over the
and
So
day,
we'll kind of
please
slide this
check
down
in
because we'll have
and
some
let
neat
us know.
telemetry and
We're
stuff.
really
Right now,
looking to use
look
this
at
flight
all
to
and some
Starship
other
to look at all
onboard
the
views.
clouds, not resilient.
But these guys
Missing
here, they
tiles.
have
I hope we
awesome
get a good
freaking
match here
tracking
in,
cameras.
We need
13
to know
minutes.
that. We also
And so
tested
we'll-
different
last
types
update
of
was,
starships, some metallic ones, one of
That's
which
listening to the
has some active
SpaceX
cooling built
stream
into it.
here.
Avionics also underwent a complete redesign with 4 upgraded Starlink terminals. You can see the location there popping up on your screen. Those now combine Starlink navigation and radio frequency, as well as communications into
So this
a
catch
single
fitting
unit.
is something
And
that we'll be
non-structural versions of the ship's
looking
catch
at.
fittings
This
have
is a
been
new
installed to test thermal performance,
addition
i.e. do they survive
to
re-entry,
V2 of
along
the
with
Starship.
smothered and tapered
Hey,
edge
dude.
on a smooth and tapered edge
In order
on
for them
the,
to catch
tile line to
the
address
ship,
hotspots
they
we
need
covered in
to
songs
have some
places.
catch pins
And we've
fitted.
got some radar sensors
Um,
on the tower catch arms again, as we're just
but
looking
the
at
issue
different
is,
ways
will
to
they
measure
burn off
distance
during
between the arms and the
re-entry?
vehicle. These ones are actually protected by kind of a modified version of our heat shield tiles. Catching the ship's
So
gonna
if
be
they survive
a little
re-entry,
different from catching a booster. One of the key things is
then they
it's gonna do
may
that flip right
go
before
for
its
a
landing
catch
burn that rapidly reorients your antennas,
next
which you're
flight,
using
like
for
flight 9
navigation.
maybe?
So those extra sensors on the ground side help just add more layers of control as ship and tower talk together for the catch.
And in another first, Starship will deploy 4 Starlink simulators. They are similar in size to our next generation Starlink satellites. Starship will have the ability to deploy our advanced V3 Starlink satellites, which will help further Starlink's impact in the coming years as we work to expand access to high-speed internet all around the world.
Just to think,
Each
this
Starlink
thing
V3 launch is planned to add
is gonna
about
take
60
people to
terabits per
Mars
second of capacity
in my
to the
lifetime,
Starlink
probably.
network. To give you some perspective,
That's freaking
about
awesome.
20 times the capacity we're
This
adding right now
Starship
with
and
every
Super
V2
Heavy
mini
booster
launch on a
is
Falcon 9. Those Starlink
twice the
simulators that we're
size,
gonna
twice the
deploy
power
are on the same
of the
suborbital
Saturn V
trajectory
rocket that
as
took
Starship
astronauts
itself.
to the
They're
moon.
expected to demise upon entry.
Supposedly.
Starship's trajectory looks super similar to our last couple of flights. Splashdown is targeted for the Indian Ocean. And then on top of all of that, again, we are planning to relight one Raptor engine while in space. That just helps us get data on the in-space burns and show Starship is capable of deorbiting.
Speaking of deorbiting, thanks to Starlink, one of the hallmarks of these Starship missions are the incredible views that we get throughout flight, and especially during reentry, as evidenced by many a phone and desktop background around here.
Yeah.
Every day, we're working to expand the Starlink network
Yo, what up,
both
Rock?
on Earth and in space. For how this all connects us to the big mission, let's head back to Chris.
Thanks, Kate. Personally, I love all those epic views of the plasma wrapping around Starship during reentry. Can't wait to see that later today. And fans of Starship.
All right, so we're gonna bring those down. So another thing that that I'll discuss. So how it's gonna work is once the Super Heavy booster stages from the ship, like they said, that booster is gonna turn around and come back towards this launch tower here. And what's gonna happen is there's gonna be tons of communication between the booster, the tower, mission control, and all of that. You know, health checkouts and everything like that. At that point in time, the booster is going to be aiming out in the sand dunes somewhere, either in the sand dunes or out in the Gulf of America, right? Only Then, after the final check and the mission director or mission controller gives the go, is that booster going to target a very small patch in between those catch arms at the launch tower and go for, you know, the booster say, hey, I'm good to go. The tower say, hey, I'm good to go. Everything's jiving. All systems are good. Go for catch. Only then will we see the ship, or not the ship, but the booster head back to the launch site, which is just absolutely epic. So as that thing comes in, the difference between this booster and say like the Falcon 9, this booster doesn't do a landing burn. This booster is screaming in at nearly, like, I don't know, 2,000 miles an hour. And you'll see it'll start getting some plasma, you know, build up on the engine bells. The engine bells will start glowing just from the heat of pushing the air out the way and the compression of the air. And it will light its engine. And just about the time it gets, you know, almost to the tower, the sound will actually catch up with the booster and you'll hear 3 sonic booms. So they have to put out sonic boom warnings, you know, around the area and stuff like that. So I think that that's pretty cool. But hopefully we see a catch today, because the catch is absolutely like unheard of. I mean, I bet NASA didn't think they would ever see reusability, you know, like this. But it's cool that NASA needs this to work, right? Because they're obviously part of the Artemis program, you know, the program that's going to be sending, you know, astronauts back to the moon and Mars and, you know, everywhere else. So let's listen back in and see what they're talking about here.
Well, the booster's going to be coming back to us at the launch site just a couple miles behind Dan and I. Weather, you could call it a silver lining that we had to delay from Monday, because holy moly, visibility is 1,000 times better today, and it's going to make for some really great views. Now, leading up to today, we did stack the vehicle. Later last night, flight controllers reported to their consoles.
All right, so weather is a go,
today,
the range is a go, and the vehicle so far is a go.
That's right. And a lot of checkouts have happened just throughout the day, aligning our guidance, navigation, control, getting all the tanks ready for prop load, which has about 4 minutes left to go. You can see us almost topping out.
We'll go back to audio from NASA Spaceflight, because they have cameras out there. Like, we'll be getting raw audio.
Out, ready to go.
I highly suggest you turn it up.
Did their wiggle test in advance of,
and then we'll switch to onboard audio or audio from the SpaceX stream.
As I just said, prop load's ongoing. We've got a little over about 4 minutes left until, or about 4 minutes. What's 7 minus 4? 4 minutes until we get to closeouts on ship and on booster. We did just hear that the range did pull again green. So we're not tracking any issues right now.
So another thing to note,
launch at the top of our window at 5:30 p.m. Central Time.
That we saw from Monday.
Exciting. Now, once again, we are attempting to catch the booster at the launch tower. If that happens
during checkouts, if there's any issues at 40 seconds, there will be an automatic hold.
It lets you know.
They can hold, I think, up to 15 minutes, in which they can try to troubleshoot whatever issues come up, because inside of 40 seconds, everything is terminal. That means that the ship is under its own power. It's going. No matter what the issue is, it's going, it's leaving the launch pad, or whatever the case is. So there will be usually there's a planned hold at 40 seconds if there are any issues. But so far the ship is good, the range is good, and this is a previous flight. Look at how those daggone engines glow. So I think this might have been flight 7. No, that's the first flight. So hopefully we see that. It's going to be epic.
And as someone who grew up hearing those sonic booms as the shuttles landed in Florida, and now hearing them for Falcon and Starship as well, they really are something to experience. And when you hear them, you just know it's a spaceship telling everyone that it wants to be reused. Great sounds. So as you can hear, the room is getting excited here in Hawthorne. The crowd eager to see Starship fly, as you can see and hear. Now, behind me in our flight control room here in Hawthorne, you can see some of our folks on console. They're assisting the flight controllers in Starbase, keeping an eye on all of Starship's various systems, including its avionics and those Raptor engines we talked about a little bit earlier. So Dan and Kate, with 4 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock, let's hit it back to you at Starbase and hopefully watch Starship lift off today.
I ain't gonna lie, guys.
Thanks so
Like,
much,
I enjoy
Chris.
stuff
If you're
like
just
this. I get
joining us,
hyped.
we're
Like,
now just
I
about
feel like
4
I
minutes
worked on the
until
rocket.
the liftoff of the
But it is
eighth test
definitely.
flight of Starship, as we reported
I can only
earlier.
imagine
Range and weather are both very green
what
and
they
super
went through
green, if
during
you
the
will,
Apollo
and
era. I
everything
mean,
is looking good. Propellant loading
you hadn't really
continues to happen.
seen
We're gonna be closing out very
excitement
soon
about
on both stages of
space
Starship.
and astronomy and stuff since
almost
that
fully
era.
Fueled on our tanks. We're going to see that closeout coming in just about 30
And maybe it's
seconds
because
on
we're
ship, so
we're
that's
either
both
not
the
at
main
war
and the header
or
tanks,
we're
and then
not
about
in
30
the
seconds
space race
later
with
on
anybody
booster.
right now. Like,
One
this
prop
is
load is complete. We got just shy
a
of
commercial
1 million
company, a
pounds of
private
liquid propellant.
company,
That's liquid oxygen, liquid methane.
you know,
to
doing
both
this
vehicles.
on
All of our
not
ground
our
systems
tax
will do
dollars.
what's called pushbacks to clear all those feed lines.
So you're seeing the
We're not
innovation, you know,
continuously
happen and the
replenishing
history
propellant on board Starship are
happen,
super heavy. That's why we essentially have several
like,
minutes
live,
where
and
we
I
can
think
hang
that's
out
I think
at
that's
that
cool.
T-minus 40 hold point before we start to run into issues with temperatures. Or
And the
just those
fact that
LOX levels
NASA
or
is in on
that
it,
LOX level on the
a
booster
government
is one of the main
agency
things
is
that we
like,
watch.
okay,
So we're also going to do a couple of final checkouts. We'll do one final one of the thrust vector control, the TVCs on the booster. We'll see them hopefully do a little bit of a wiggle test. The first one comes at about 1:40.
that's pretty cool to see.
Before launch, and then the last one comes right as we pass that T-minus 40 gate. Again, if we need to hold, which we held a couple of times on Monday, we can do so at that T-minus 40 We're not currently tracking any issues that would hold us there, but if we do run into that, we can hang out for a couple minutes.
That would be the point in the countdown, as we mentioned on Monday. That T-minus 40-second point is when we can pause to hold for final checkouts or pressurizations if necessary. But once we pass that T-minus 40-second mark, a number of things are going to occur in rapid succession. The ground spin and ignition systems will come up to flight pressure. The ship goes to internal power. And after that, the quick disconnect or QD arm lockout, that's removed in preparation for retraction shortly after T0. Once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, as we saw on Monday, we had the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions back to that T-minus 40 second mark and hold there.
So all of this extra venting that you're seeing, like, they're still fueling the booster in the ship, right? It's about to wrap up, but you'll see, you know, the tower venting, and they're starting to push out all of the excess fuel and oxygen out of those lines, because when this thing goes, all of that stuff could ignite too.
And the water starts to flow in that flame deflector, and we
there they go, testing the swivel on the engines, the gimbal on the engines.
There's our TVC, our thrust vector control checkout's got a little bit of a wiggle there on those inner Raptor engines, those 13 inner ones, which are going to be used for that boost back burn and the landing burn. So cool.
Yeah, once they start catching ship, I may go down for a launch, especially when this thing starts launching from the Cape.
The super heavy booster.
That's going to be epic. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and swap over to the other stream sound. And I'm going to be quiet, and we're going to enjoy this launch.
And as soon as we see the deluge, Alex and
I
will
may
completely
go
be silent and let you enjoy the launch and hopefully enjoy everything that is going on. We are waiting for confirmation if they are going through that hold point, and we are waiting for that. Once that is confirmed, we are just seconds away. I think we see the... Did we already see the DSS?
Looks like they're holding.
Oh, they're holding. Okay.
Yeah, so remember, this is a planned hold,
okay.
40
Don't
seconds.
panic.
On the ship.
There we go. Don't panic yet. They have plenty time to hold. Sometimes they just troubleshoot a few minutes, and once they are confident, once everything looks good, they will progress. This is not. I think I heard the vent.
All right, timer's going. We're through the hold.
Which means they're probably releasing the hold.
SpaceX stream is going.
DSS, I think.
Holy shit!
That's hard
Detonation
to
suppression system.
Yeah,
there we
watch
go.
for the deluge.
Okay, watch out. Yeah.
We're going,
and
guys.
At this point, we will be quiet. See you on the other side.
Turn it up. I'm gonna be quiet too. I'm gonna actually mute my mic. Look at that! Look at the marked diamonds! Oh my God, bro!
The rocket got shake!
The rocket's going poop!
Yeah!
33 good engines, bro!
All right, we're a little over 40 seconds into the flight. We are seeing 33 out of 33 Raptor engines ignited.
Look at that!
Boosters pushing us downrange over the Gulf. Next milestone coming up in just under 10 seconds is going to be max Q, that max aerodynamic pressure.
Max Q.
All right, so we're through max Q. That's the heaviest stresses. It's kind of seeing on the way up. Wow, that was pretty incredible. It's kind of seeing on the way up. Wow, that was pretty incredible.
Look at that.
I'm still recovering. That was amazing. Beautiful views of the vehicle on ascent, pitching downrange away from the launch tower.
And we are seeing 33 healthy Raptor engines, if I might say that, and the booster ascent looks to be good so far.
Look at that, guys.
And we are, I mean, Alex, so far so good, right? We are, everything looking good. We are about 30 seconds away from hot staging.
Yep, next up should be hot staging. That hot staging will be 30 engines shut down, and then ignition of the ship engines and separation of the booster. Watch out for the grid fins to turn.
Yeah, everything looking good here on the Raptor engines on the left. You watch for that very violent boost back flip. You will see that after that's expected. But it looks quite interesting. That's the preparation for hot staging. That's hot staging.
There we go. Boosters going home.
From our cameras.
I think there's the boost back. Look at that flip.
Boosters
wonderful.
Going home.
Oh,
That's
that
the boost
flip
back burn start.
That was an interesting flip, but I think that looks good on the boost back. Yeah, that looks good, right?
Looks like two engines might be out.
There's an engine out.
On the boost back burn.
Ah, they may not go for a catch.
We will await confirmation what that means for the catch. Of course, SpaceX will say something that, again, the flight director needs to confirm a go for catch. That is the requirement. We also see 6 healthy engines on ship 34.
I think it was the last flight. They had an engine. They had an engine out, one engine. And they still went for a catch. That engine relit for the landing burn. So, but they had 2 engines out this time.
We had an engine
we'll
out
see.
as well, and that was not something that stopped them from going for a catch. So that doesn't mean anything yet.
Yeah, but there's 2 engines
still
now,
go
Alex.
for catch apparently.
Oh, look at that. That's in the inner stage.
We're still looking at a booster returning, awaiting final confirmation from SpaceX for go for catch.
Come on, go for catch, y'all. Go for catch.
That usually happens after the shutdown of the boost back berm is where they confirm. Also, look at the ship. Look at continuously if all engines are
ongoing.
See.
Look right over where the center engines are. You can see the purple hue there.
Oh, yeah. And we are awaiting final catch. Go.
Go for catch. Go for catch. Go for catch.
Still so good. So far, so good.
It's still boosting
everything
back,
good.
guys.
Everything good. We like to see what everything looks to be okay right now. Of course, the final okay
There's
will be done by the
hot staging ring separating. Look at that.
Oh, it's floating away. And we are now usually at the frame where they commit for a catch.
All right, come on, guys. Just go for it. The engine will relight.
We have not heard anything of the contrary yet.
There is that shutdown.
And the catch would be in 2 minutes from now.
I don't know, guys. We hadn't gotten go for catch yet. They may be ditching the booster.
Let's see. The boost back burn might be a bit late because 2 engines were out, so maybe they have corrected a bit. So maybe the timeline is a bit off, but
it's orienting like it wants to go for catch.
Some of the times might be off precisely because of that. Those 2 engines out, of course, will affect.
See how the boosters now coming up?
But I have not heard any call-outs that they are not going or anything. Still going for it.
Honestly, that booster is starting to aim now. So, looking like they might go for it. I want to jinx it as a commentator here.
That's a funny-looking hot staging ring.
But that booster looks to me like it's on track for the tower, Alex.
Yeah. Let's see that re-entry. Watch out for the engine glow, because that aft end gets very hot during the re-entry. Does not do any entry burn.
That booster's going 4,000 kilometers an hour right now. Screaming back down the earth.
Oh, there's the glow coming.
There it comes.
There are go for booster catch.
Let's go! They're gonna do it! They're gonna try it with 2 engines out!
Still all going. There, look at that glow, Alex. Fantastic views.
That's so cool.
Watch for the engines to ignite, and then they will shut down all but 3 for the final approach to the tower.
Let's go!
Let's see what happens.
The engines are gonna relight. They're gonna relight. They're gonna relight.
They're gonna relight. Burn.
Give us that beautiful flamethrower. I'm sorry. There
Land
it
and
is.
burn! Land and burn!
Engines.
Landing burn ignition.
Whoa! Look at the gimbal! It's gonna do it! It's gonna do it! Look at that shit, bro!
And catch.
Okay.
Welcome.
Wow.
All right, half of the job is done, guys.
Welcome back, booster. We have a catch. 3 times.
Third time is a charm.
There we go. And very toasty. Look at that.
Look at that toasty booster, but also look in the bottom right. You know what's still running just fine?
The ship.
All
it's
6
still
engines
going.
on the ship.
The ship is still going.
Let's see, because it still has about another minute or so on its burn. It looked like maybe 1 engine on that landing burn did not work, but the rest were running.
What? Yeah, but this one's gonna make it.
Absolute craziness of SpaceX to have multiple engines back, not on the boost back burn, and also some unsureness, and they are still committing for this, Alex.
All right, so we're gonna bring SpaceX's stream up here.
That was interesting. Wow.
Because the job's not done, right?
I am. I am honestly impressed.
That's not good.
Oh.
That's not good. We're losing ship. Engine out. We got 4 engines out. It's gonna self-terminate.
That's a ship rotating, Alex.
Yep, they lost it. It just terminated.
It's gonna not terminate. Nominal.
That doesn't look nominal, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
That is definitely a ship out of control.
Yep, they're gonna have to terminate it.
And this is why they don't put it into orbit.
So there was something I noticed.
So we're still getting video down from
rather
the ship.
interesting.
We've lost several engines and we've lost attitude control.
It's
of the
tumbling.
vehicle.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board on V2.
Is it falling back to Earth?
No, it's still going up at the moment, but yeah.
So it's just spinning.
I think it just self-destructed.
It's
one thing that I did hear earlier, Adrian, if you allow me, they called out on the nets. Oh, sorry. They called out FTS is saved, which is weird. You can see also the.
For those of you that just recently joined us, we had a successful liftoff of the.
So what I've noticed, guys, when I made the window big, and that whole cowling, as we were looking out at the engines, it looked like I saw fire in there. That was a problem that plagued Flight 7.
The attitude control of the ship.
And on Flight 7, it did the same thing. It pretty much lost an engine. There was fire in that little crawl space. Several engines shut down. They lost attitude control of the ship. And that's when you saw the stars come over on Instagram. The ship had to self-terminate. But in this case, did they reactivate the FTS system? Because, like he said, they had a call out that said FTS is safe. At a certain point in the flight, they will safe the flight termination system.
And at this point, we have we're going to listen in for a little bit, just so we're going to listen in for a little bit. Just
hold on, let me go back and see if you guys can see what I'm talking about here.
A couple more minutes. We'll bring you
all right, so I just replayed it. When they cut so you see all of this here, that's inside of the bay. That looks like fire.
A million shout outs to all of our avionics
team. It's not fun to walk down here and see what they just said.
And you can see the ship starting to pitch.
Gene, let's quickly talk through what we have just.
Something let go though, because it did a massive pitch up. Yeah, you see that? Something let go. That was an engine letting go. And that caused asymmetric thrust.
Had 4 engines out a bit early, and that started.
Watch towards the right side of.
That will give you asymmetric thrust. And once you're in the asymmetric thrust, you're basically.
No, hold on. All right, so watch right here. See, something let go. We lost telemetry on 4 engines right there. So here are the engines. It's got 6 engines. 1's failed, 2 and 3's failed. Then that one let go. And then now you have 2 engines providing asymmetric thrust.
Vacuum optimized Raptors. Look at that beautiful ship now. Chopsticks booster. They are fixed, right? So the vacuum optimized. So they, if they have to do massive
it didn't break off. It just
maneuvers. They do them with the sea level engines. And as soon as,
what did I do? My bad,
1 engine out, they can still control it, but 2 engines out, 1 sea level just can't.
Okay, so let's see if we can move this and see what they got.
Which will start the vehicle tumbling. I just caught a bit of that as I came back into the studio.
Yeah, it's of course we are standing by for SpaceX to say more and like give us a good overview of what happened.
Yeah.
There's. But yeah.
Now was I correct?
I think.
Go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, I was gonna say there's at least some things that we are sure about, right? That we can talk about here. That booster looks a little bit off from what we saw on previous landings. You may notice that it's actually sort of to the side of the tower. That is not how it landed on previous occasions, which means the chopsticks may have done their work on try to align themselves with where the booster was coming down. Yeah.
And so why would it be off? It also.
I think we saw. Maybe I'm imagining things, but I think we saw the chopsticks almost pivoting over at the catch. We will have to wait for replays. And we will have to wait and see for that. But I think we saw a rapid movement of the chopsticks right before the catch to get the booster. But
right,
I mean,
so coming back
let's talk about the successful part here first. They caught him another booster. That's the good part here.
Unfortunately, this happened too, so we've got some practice of this now. We've got the ship, a lot of measures. Unfortunately, this happened response areas where we've got to practice very closely with air traffic control. We have a lot of
eventually, because it wasn't in orbit, it will
very closely with their
come back and further burn out.
In work right now. So
I'm getting dual
just to
sounds
recap,
here.
sure that we're keeping the public safe. Those worked last time, and they're actively in work right now. So just to recap real quick, everything we saw, we lifted off right at the top of our window, essentially at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Booster was able to get us all the way up into space, made its way back here. It's sitting on the tower right behind us, our 3rd ever catch. Starship ignited all 6 of its Raptor engines. It was just about 20 or 30 seconds away. We'll get exact times from the end of its ascent burn when we started to see some engines go out on ship. Eventually lost attitude control and then lost contact with the ship shortly after. So obviously a lot to go through, a lot to dig through. We're going to go right at it. The primary reason we do these flight tests is to learn. We have some more to learn about this vehicle, but we're going to be right back here in the not too distant future, and we're going to get a ship to space.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We fly to learn, and we're learning a lot. And as is the case with developmental programs such as the Starship program, progress isn't always linear. So at this point, we're going to close out our webcast for the day. But before we do, we'd like to give a shout out to our viewers.
So what you see there, they're detanking or venting whatever fuel they have left over in that booster before any of the crews can move in to get the booster back to the hangar, yada yada yada. They've got to
as well as at SpaceX.
They've got to defuel whatever is left in there. Let me get.
And as you can see, the booster hanging from the chopsticks there. From the top of the Margaritaville Hotel, of course, we didn't see as close up as you guys did with our remote cameras. We were able to see up to stage separation, most engine cut off, and then we watched the booster come back. We obviously did have a comms issue, and Adrian and Alex took over, but you could see the booster hanging from the chopsticks. That I would call that a successful return to launch site catch by another booster, which, of course, this is all about collecting data. So as they safe this booster and as they eventually lower it back down, they're going to get more data from this booster. Am I correct, Adrian and Alex? Was I correct? Did I hear that we had an engine out on boost back again?
Two.
They had two engines out on boost back, and they also apparently, Alex, there was an engine out on landing burn, correct?
Yeah, I'm looking through all the cameras as well. You know, and trying to look at everything. Remember, the liftoff happened roughly 35 seconds into the window. We had a very short hold.
What's up,
there.
Robin? I know, right?
At T-minus 40 seconds, they lifted it very quickly, and then they went into launch essentially at 5:30 and 35 p.m. Central. 8 minutes after that, we had that booster landing. It seems like after the catch, so I should probably explain a little bit more what we saw and what happened here. We're probably going to go through all of the replays, of course, because we're pulling all of those from our feeds. But it appears that at least at the beginning, it was a little bit to the left. And then once it was caught, the chopsticks moved even further to the left. We'll see on the replays that the exhaust of the engines don't even hit the tower, don't even hit the quick disconnect from the OLM. So it was quite a really less of an energetic event
you know what?
for those two pieces of hardware. I don't know if that was on purpose for.
So here's the thing: every time the boosters come back, it burned the hell out of the quick disconnect here and the tower here. So even though they had the engine out, it may not have been intentional, but you gotta wonder.
Intentional change to the.
That's what I was just saying.
Trajectory to try to save the base of the tower and the booster quick disconnect. Do we have any information on that?
So maybe they changed it a little bit to prevent.
Was not intentional.
I think it was maybe intentional.
I think it's what we right now saw. Everything was like in design limits, but certainly they had some limitations based on engines out. I think also they like everything. I mean, they still caught, like, honestly, like they still got a booster back, right? And that was everything good there. But but it looked to me like it was the most rough of all landings. Preliminarily, like analyzing it further.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at all the replays. Right now, they're pulling replays from our remote cameras. Our photographers are pulling their replays and sending them to control room as we continue to talk about this. And with the two engines out, here's one of the replays. That is a plume.
Yeah.
There we go.
Look at that.
Yep.
33 daggum Raptor engines. That's insane.
We'll get there, but there is... I'm pretty sure this ship route was very different from the last one.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's about data. We'll see what they say when they say it.
Yeah,
and so
it showed pretty good level of confidence
So here's the thing. Anytime they have a RUD, rapid unscheduled disassembly, right? That's going to trigger what's called a mishap investigation with the FAA. Now, SpaceX has been really good about their internal investigations, and so the FAA has given them the authority to investigate themselves and report the findings to them. Before, what would happen is that they would ground the rocket until they found out what the cause of the issue is. Now, that can still happen if this thing exploded over a populated area. But the trajectory of the launch had it out over the Gulf of Mexico. It wasn't over a populated area. So chances are they'll be looking to launch Flight 9 probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks, I think. Obviously, they're going to want to know what's going on with version 2 of the ship, because this is number 2 of version 2 that didn't make it. Flight 7 was the first version 2 ship, and this is Flight 8. It's the second version 2 ship that didn't make it. It didn't make it nowhere near as far as it was supposed to. And that's crazy, because version 1 of the ship, they had what, 5 versions of version 1, and most of those made it through re-entry, burned to hell with their flaps barely hanging on because it had burned through, and everything like that. It's just ship held together. But version 2, man, it's been hard to get going. I hate to see what version 2 of the booster would look like, but
from our point of view, we're 6.5 miles away, looking with our calibrated Mark 1 eyeballs, as you like to say. It looked fine from us. We didn't have the camera angles that Adrian and Alex did. But I mean, that looks like a normal, healthy launch to me.
I'm seeing something.
So potentially something, obviously after stage separation. Stage separation looked good to you guys, right, Adrian?
Yeah, everything up until stage separation looked good, and I'm sorry for being cut out on and off here, because you can pretty much probably tell that Alex and I, and also Ryan Webber in the background,
I want to see a couple replays of the landing.
Everything we can see right now to find out
and how it landed skew.
And, I can already I can already say one thing. I think we just saw an engine explosion in some sort of way on the ship, because you can see what looks to be an engine rapidly, like the engines
so what
go
they're
out
looking
all
at
once.
is what I
it's
showed.
Not like the last time, like it's a slow
the
creeping
fire in the crawl space, I think,
you can
and
see
then that engine
like
explosion that we looked
burst
at.
Of gas, and then
they're looking at that now on their replays.
And one thing, of course, just like on Flight 7,
and they'll show those here in a minute.
Over the Atlantic Ocean, and multiple people saw that, and there's posts on social media. We cannot show that right now because there's no permissions for that, but we are aware of that, just making sure that we are clear with that.
And as we get information, we'll bring it to you. Obviously, that's what we do. We're rocket nerds, and these kinds of things happen. Again, this is Flight 8. We're not even in double digits yet. We're going to later on. Are they moving back to center, or are we?
The chopsticks are moving to the left
slowly.
Here.
Yeah, you can see slowly moving back to center on the tower. So that catch position was off to. If you're looking at it, it's going to be to the right on the screen, but it's the left side of the tower. I wonder if they did that as an avoidance maneuver for the OLM, the booster quick disconnect, etc. Is that something going forward, or was this? Oh no, it's off track. Excuse me. And the tower, again, we don't know. Did the tower move itself over to catch where the ship was going to be outside of a planned catch? We're going to keep watching this. This is research and development. These are test flights. And, every scrap of data they can get from these things make the next flight better. I said that on Flight 7. And here we are again on Flight 8. Go ahead, Alex.
No, I was agreeing with you. It's obviously up in the air to see what happened on this flight. This is one of the things that they'll need to look at and make sure that everything is good for Flight 9. We can see there up in the air as well that booster is being set down. You can see the chopsticks not only moved it a bit more centered, but it's also coming back down over the launch mount as it goes down. You can see it there on the other view. You could see as it was moving down, it was also moving to the side.
And again, we don't know why it landed in that configuration. We will try to get that information, potentially a pad avoidance maneuver on landing. We know that the previous boosters come in, they scorch the OLM pretty good. They scorch the bottom of the tower. And maybe they decided to catch it just off center. And who knows? I mean, at this point, we're kind of guessing. We've got our people. I think it was a mix of
kind of both.
Every piece of information
with the engines out.
And when they get it, we'll see what happens. We are pulling
for the most part
of the launch.
As long as you don't lose too many engines on one side, the booster can correct
from our perspective
with the amount of gimbaling that these engines have. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards.
So we're going to go to Ryan Caton,
caught it in a different position
about air traffic
to prevent damage to the tower and the launch mount.
Yeah, so as we saw on the previous flight, there was something, I believe it's called like a danger hazard area or something along those lines, which was activated. Now, these are areas which are not initially enforced. However, they are activated at a later date after, say, a mishap or a rapid unscheduled disassembly, as has obviously happened with the Block 2 Starship yet again. And we can see here, down here, there is a clear corridor of aircraft. This entire corridor is clear. That would have been intentional beforehand because this corridor is the direction which Starship was meant to fly. Now, as we mentioned just a few minutes ago, we're seeing reports on social media, videos coming from the Florida area around here of Starship or something that looks very much like to be Starship blowing up in the sky. Obviously, we don't have permission to share those with you yet on here. However, something of note is that we already have aircraft turning around, such as that one there, which, as you can see, flew down towards our good old friends, the Turks and Caicos, and has done a big left turn there, and is currently either holding or diverting. I'm sure there'll be plenty of other aircraft doing the same. Also, there is the possibility that there are more aircraft over in this direction. However, we just can't get their transponder data because of the way we get the transponder data. It has to be done through ground stations. So if they're too far away from a ground station, say in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, we just can't get that tracking data. So there could be more aircraft out there.
So there are going to be videos. Chances are there are videos right now. Like this thing is coming through like a shower of sparks right now.
34.
Back into the atmosphere.
Thank you, Ryan. Keep an eye on
right in that corridor where you don't see any aircraft at. The FAA has activated that emergency plan.
Outside, there were some reports,
and
confirmed, unconfirmed.
Just like with Flight 7, I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing some awesome
we're going to get information as soon as
sparks and stuff come through the upper atmosphere here.
And I guess we're going to get kind of speculative here.
Yeah, I may fly, but not on stream.
I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too little. But after the events of Flight 7, and of course,
because I planned on being to watch this,
gone in similar directions.
So I didn't plan to stream today, but we'll be back tomorrow doing some flying.
Are we going to see a longer delay before Flight 9? Are we going to see? I mean, what is your speculation here? Because are they going to take a step back and they're going to reevaluate how they're doing things at SpaceX? I don't know. This is a rapid iterative program. We want to see them continuing to go forward. We want to see them get us multiplanetary. But with two events like two apparently, guys, remember, making air fingers quotes here, apparently similar events at similar times in the flight. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. I don't think they're going to change much, to be honest with you. Yeah. I definitely can tell you that Flight 9 is probably not going to be a ship catch. It's definitely not going to be a ship catch after this, right? They need to get that entry data, and that entry data is key. But here's the thing, man. Like, okay, keep in mind, guys, this is a superfluous kind of analysis here. I'm just seeing what you see. So, we're not trying to jump the gun here, okay? This failure clearly doesn't look like Flight 7. It looks a little bit different, like the sequence of the engine shutting down seemed to be a little bit different. So, we could chalk this one up to, it's the same exact problems. It's the harmonic resonance problem again that they encountered. Like, I don't know. Keep in mind, they destacked this booster yesterday because they tried to put it on top of that Super Heavy, and clearly some parts fell off. So you got to take that into account. You know, there's a lot to trace here for this fault tree analysis, right? There is a lot. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things to take into account. There's a lot of things to consider, right? Yeah. I don't think that it's going to slow them down. What I can tell you is
to comment on what he's talking about, the harmonic resonance, that's essentially what destroyed the ship on Flight 7. So what happened is the violence and the vibrations of those engines caused a specific frequency to resonate through the aft section of the ship, causing a massive fuel leak in that crawl space that I was discussing right above, you know, where those engines are mounted. Fire ensued and engines started shutting down. So that's why they're kind of comparing this to that. But their professional eyes, in my view, I think it looks almost exactly like Flight 7. But, you know, in their view, it didn't. So, I mean, they're the professionals. I'm not. So, could it have been something to do with the harmonic? What I do know is after Flight 7, they put this ship on a test stand, and they did what's called a static fire, a full duration static fire. And they throttled those engines. They did everything, you know, just to test if their fixes fix the harmonic resonance that the previous ship had that caused the failure. They weren't seeing any new harmonic resonances or whatever. But again, that's not in a flight environment. That's not in a. It's literally strapped down to a test stand, so it's hard to know if it's fixed. But apparently something fell off the ship yesterday when they were stacking it back on the booster. And, you know, that could have been an issue if they didn't put that back on properly. But these guys are freaking rocket engineers, man. They put it back on properly. I'm pretty sure of it. But
there are 13 engines. There's an outer ring of 20, and then there's an inner ring of 10, and then the 3 in the middle.
Look at the vapor cone.
All 13 of the engines inside the ring, they can gimbal, right, Adrian? They hold the attitude control. And they can move that ship where it needs to stay on its flight path. And then as it gets up into the atmosphere, you'll start to see that engine plume expand into the lower pressures, the higher parts of the atmosphere, lower atmospheric pressure. You'll see that plume start to expand. And when it gets to most engine cutoff, all of the engines will shut down in a sequence to keep it in symmetric thrust, just leaving the inner 3 engines burning. And they throttle these, right, Adrian? They throttle these engines up and down.
Yeah. Yeah, they slow them down before the stage separation, and we are that's usually to reduce a bit of distress at around MECO, and that's MECO Max Q. I'm sorry, and that's what they're doing.
So this is obviously the still track shot, the slow-mo. It looks great. In this shot, you actually see it looks like one gigantic rocket engine. But it's not. It's 33, and then when we get up there, they'll start to chill the engines on the ship, and then you'll actually see the plumage. You'll see it come out the side of that hot stage ring, and we talked about what happened when they tried to restack the booster yesterday. They broke a piece off of the hot stage ring. We don't know if that was part of it. We don't know anything. We're trying to get the information. Great tracking job by our photographers in the field, by the way. Max, D, I think, is this still D? So there's the shutdown, the sequential shutdown I talked about to keep it in line. Only the 3 inner engines will remain, as Elon says, keep thrusting, right? And then what you'll see is on the outside of the ship itself, the engines from the ship ignite and come out the sides of that hot stage ring, which we should see right there. Now, as soon as they ignite, that hot stage ring lets loose and away the ship goes, and you'll see that booster turn around. You see it there, and it starts its return to launch site, or what we call the boost back burn, and it ignites more of those engines. And Adrian, do we know which engines? Do we have a graphic or anything? Do we know which engines are out, or is just we know 2 of them are out?
I would need to go to the SpaceX replay for that, to go to that exactly. That is the source of.
So we're getting into the replays of the catch. That's what I really want to see here.
I didn't
slow mo.
Exactly track in the moment which one went out.
Here's a.
So see, it looks like fire up in here, man. Not gonna lie.
Is this our launch?
And obviously, fire in that area isn't gonna look like fire that we see it because there's no oxygen up there.
The important bit is also
Oh yeah, something went wrong there. Something went real wrong there.
Immediately loses attitude control.
I mean, Gene, that's an extremely energetic event. It knocked
and you
out
could
4
even
engines
see
in one
the
shot.
ship like.
Hang on, go ahead, guys.
Can we?
Like you can see the ship kind of squat when it
about 750. Is that possible? Because if we can do that,
I saw
look
low,
at
Adrian. You seen that?
Yeah, there is a moment.
Oh yeah.
Stop right there.
Yeah.
Do you see the Raptor? Do you see the Raptor engine on the left? There's a burn through.
Yeah, there's a burn through.
Yep.
Right here.
So, guys, if you look,
I would like to point out.
Okay,
go ahead,
Alex, go.
Like even forget about that engine. Like that camera, to me at least, it looks engulfed in flames. Like
I
you
said
see
it.
that
orange
All right,
glow.
so I'm not tripping. I agree.
Like there's some orange hue around the camera, and you can see it as you play it. Maybe we can play it normal speed or anything like that, but that's more or less what you can see. Like forget about even that engine. There's some orange hue there on that.
Because you wouldn't see fire that far up, even with the engines running. There was another leak or something, I think.
When I first saw that on the stream, I thought it was, sometimes there's a little bit of recirculation, right? As the exhaust, there's low pressure, it's in a vacuum. Sometimes you get some recirculation into the engine bay. And I thought it was that. But then engines started to go out. So that's, my first instinct was to think about Flight 7, right? I don't want to speculate on that, of course, but it's this sort of thing of it kind of is reminiscent of that.
I think realistically, I'm what we see. I think the main explosion here, because I think we are all aligned. What we see there is some sort of main explosion at the end that knocks out all these Raptors, right? Like that looks fairly violent. I, however, think that there's another cause that is building up the seconds before that, which is, and I don't want to say the word leak again, but I honestly think we have to address this here. This looks like there's another flame leak inside of the ship engine section that is starting to eat the Raptors, that is starting to hit damage the nozzles.
Now, did Leo not say all of this before they came to this conclusion? Leo did. They need to bring me on the show.
Don't know what Adrian's talking about. On Flight 7, the reported reason that they lost that vehicle was a fire in what they call the attic. The attic is just below the ship's lower propellant tank, but above the thrust heads of the engines. And they said that there was a leak in there based on the vibration from the previous flight that caused a pressure event, and they couldn't vent that area fast enough. So on this ship, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I wanted to point out one thing at least, that the silver lining I get from this footage, I guess, is that we saw what it looks like when the ship loses control, which kind of gives you an idea of maybe what happened on Flight 7, right? Like, if you were to imagine what was the perspective of the ship as it was losing control on Flight 7, well, there you have it. And also, shout out to Starlink, because it kept going the feed, even with all of the flips and whatnot, or whatever feed they were using for the views. Like, I guess that's a silver lining. It looks a bit like Interstellar, I gotta say, but yeah.
Yep. And fire in space, not coming out of a rocket engine is bad, and this is an example of it. But yeah, you can see it there, losing attitude control. And on Flight 7, when it lost attitude control, we didn't really get this kind of view, and the flight termination system autonomously terminated the flight. I don't know how else to say it. More than likely, the same thing happened here. And again, that's unofficial. We don't know, but we will wait and bring you more. But as soon as you lose those inner 3 engines, and at least 2 of them, you can't keep attitude control and you lose control of the ship. And as you were saying, what you don't want is you don't want a building-size spacecraft flying around uncontrolled. You want to be able to bring that back in. And of course, this was on a free return trajectory anyway. It was not orbital, so it is definitely coming back. Alex, what are we seeing on the screen here?
So they got a ground
this
stop
is
at Miami.
ATC adversary for the Miami airspace, I guess, and you can say there space launch incident. I cannot read the other things. My feed is a bit more pixelated, but you can see some of the things, talking about the other stuff, ground stops and things like that, and obviously, they have an addendum sort of at the end, comments, space launch incident.
Yep.
I'm actually gonna look at the full report. And yeah.
That
There you
is,
go.
I think, from Florida, or is that from?
Yep.
Oh, we're starting to get views of
Okay.
it breaking up.
Brian Jackson on X.
Yep. So Brian Jackson got this video, sent it to us here at NSF. Thank you for that, Brian. This is obviously, you can see the swirl.
So it's spinning.
The ship tumbling.
That's the ship tumbling.
And I'm not sure if you all got that on the roof, but what Alex caught before the ship was tumbling is the fact that they deactivated the FTS apparently before.
Yeah.
Oh.
Before
They
the
had
run.
that.
So they already shut down the FTS, so this was not FTS probably.
Oh, wow.
They had that call out. I don't know how much safe is saved, right? But they had that call out on the nets talking about FTS is saved, and that's what I pointed out. But yeah.
Yeah. This video is coming in from Boynton Beach, Florida. Thank you for that. It's near West Palm Beach.
So now, if they hadn't have saved the FTS, chances are, as soon as that ship let go, as soon as those engines let go, and it lost attitude control, it would have self-terminated. And that's what happened with Flight 7, is that as soon as it let go, the ship self-terminated. And so we didn't get all of these onboard views like this. So at a certain point, naturally in the count, they safe the FTS once it's at a safe distance and everything is going well. They did that. They safed the FTS system. And then something happened. There was a leak. Engines let go. The ship lost attitude control. FTS was deactivated. And so we got a treat to some onboard views of ship losing control, screaming, "Help!"
We're rocket nerds. We launched a rocket today. They caught a booster. This celebrates that.
So
We
yeah,
hugged a booster today.
that's gonna do it
I think
for
that's
us,
fun.
man.
So,
This is a blast. I really would have
you
liked
see the
to
roadblock
see
there in the camera shot in the
whole thing.
house
Maybe
on
we'll
the
do
right
this again.
side.
Maybe we'll do this for Flight 9. Drop a like for the stream if you enjoyed it, want to learn more, and learn with us as we
they're gonna try to get out to that thing as soon
journey
as
to the
possible.
cosmos.
You want to get it safe, get all the propellants evac out of it. They're basically just lining up. I still think the roadblock is still in place. Alex, do you think it's still in place? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, maybe Adrian.
Yeah,
Alex.
it's 100.
Yeah.
They're still waiting
Yeah,
for
so
the final.
all right, guys,
like
this is
the
gonna
final
do it for
propellant
us.
boil off, before they open that road, because of course they still. I mean,
Again, this we have followed coverage from at NASA Spaceflight on YouTube. This is their stream. And we also pulled up the SpaceX stream on X, or formerly known as Twitter. Again, if you enjoyed the content, do drop us a like. This is outside of our realms of what we do on the channel. But it was fun. It was definitely fun to watch rocket science live with you guys. We'll be back live tomorrow. We'll try to get a stream in tomorrow. Our work schedule has changed, and so we'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow. But I appreciate you guys for hanging out with us for a little bit. Till next time, take care of yourselves. Do something you're passionate about. Your boy Leo is signing off. See ya.